In the heart of the Maasai savannah, where the horizon gleamed with golden light, lay the vibrant village of Enkari. This close-knit community thrived under the watchful gaze of majestic baobab trees and rolling hills. Here, laughter and warmth mingled with the rich scents of cooking and wildflowers. Amid this picturesque setting stood Kimo, the village's most captivating figure. With his towering frame and sun-kissed skin, Kimo was the embodiment of physical perfection. His deep brown eyes sparkled mischievously as he effortlessly drew glances from women throughout the village. Clad in beautifully woven shuka of reds and blues, he was a living testament to Maasai tradition, but it was his charm that set him apart, a magnetism that could light up the darkest corners of the savannah. Every day for Kimo was a celebration of flirtation. With a smooth smile and an easy laugh, he greeted the village women as if they were his long-lost friends. Zuri, known for her playful spirit and colourful beads, would often catch his eye, her laughter bubbling like a fresh spring. "Kimo, would you care to join me for some dance lessons? I promise I won't trip over your feet," she would tease, flipping her hair over her shoulder. "Only if you promise to catch me when I fall," Kimo would reply, always ready for playful banter. But Kimo's charm wasn't limited to just one woman. On a sun-drenched afternoon when the village revelry began to boil with excitement, Kimo found himself drawn to Amina, a fierce and competitive spirit whose beauty was matched only by her strength. "Are you brave enough to dance with me at the festival?" she challenged, her eyes gleaming with determination. "As long as you don't step on my toes, Amina." Kimo laughed, fully aware of the playful war they had engaged in. Amina rolled her eyes, feigning annoyance but unable to hide the smile creeping across her lips. In this world of flirtation, every interaction felt electric. Days melted into nights, Kimo spinning around the village like a breeze, leaving behind a trail of hopeful hearts and simmering tension. With each compliment he sent floating through the air, multiple women began to believe they held a piece of his affection. As the village prepared for the highly anticipated harvest festival, excitement swirled like leaves caught in the wind. The marketplace brimmed with vibrant decorations, delicious aromas, and the rhythmic sounds of drums, enticing everyone to join in the festivities. Kimo revelled in the atmosphere, hopping from one gathering to the next, the centre of attention. "Kimo, you simply have to see my new dance moves," called Layla, a fiery woman known for her spirited personality. Her eyes shone with enthusiasm, and she approached him with the confidence of a lioness. "More daring moves, Layla. I can hardly keep up with all your skills," he replied with a flirtatious grin, pretending to swoon as she demonstrated a playful figure dance, a blend of tradition and her style that had the crowd cheering. Kimo couldn't resist joining her, their bodies moving in unison, laughter surrounding them. Meanwhile, Kimo's best friend Duma sat at a distance, observing the delightful chaos unfold. After hours of watching Kimo flit between women, he decided it was time to intervene. "Kimo, you're juggling way too many hearts. Do you even realize the storm you're brewing?" Kimo chuckled, waving him off. "Come on, Duma. This is all in good fun. Who wouldn't want to be adored like this? I'll deal with the consequences later." Duma frowned, sensing the tension building among the women. "It's not just fun when feelings get hurt. These aren't just games anymore. You might end up causing real harm, my friend." Kimo shrugged, dismissing the concern as he swept past Duma to flirt with Fatima, known for her radiant smile and playful spirit. "And what's a festival without a dance, Fatima? Let's show everyone how it's done." While the dance spun into a flurry of colours and laughter, the gears of obsession began to churn among the women. With every moment of attention, they thought they were special, caught in Kimo's web, a charming heartbreaker who created fantasies without realizing the emotional havoc left behind. As the days melded into nights in anticipation of the festival, Kimo became the axis on which the village turned. Unbeknownst to him, every flirtation transformed into an emotion deeper than desire, a burning obsession for the women of Enkare. The competition heightened, leaving a group of friends stranded amid fragmented ties. Kimo had noticed the whispers circulating among the women, each claim more outrageous than the last. On one particularly sunny afternoon, while gathering with friends at the marketplace, he overheard snippets of conversation. "I heard Amina is expecting," one villager remarked. "What about Zuri? She's about to burst with admiration for Kimo. Can you believe she thinks he's the father?" Another chimed in, her voice laced with both excitement and jealousy. When Kimo confronted Zuri later at the well, her expression held a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "Kimo, I have something to tell you." "What is it, Zuri? You look like you've seen a ghost," Kimo teased, watching her fidget. "It's not a ghost. It's a baby," she exclaimed, her voice thick with uncertainty. "I think I might be pregnant. And it's because of you." Kimo's heart faltered for a moment, uncertainty dancing in his chest. "Wait, what? How could this happen?" He felt disbelief wash over him as Zuri's statement unraveled in front of him. "I thought this was all just fun, Kimo. I thought you cared about me," she snapped, eyes storming with a mix of hurt and anger. "Oh, Zuri, I didn't mean for any of this to complicate things." Kimo stumbled, realizing the tangled mess of emotions he had woven through flippant flirting. The atmosphere grew heavy, and the laughter that once surrounded him now felt like chains tightening around his heart. Kimo's charm had turned into a curse, leaving a wake of heartbreak and confusion. Later, Duma found Kimo sulking beneath the baobab tree, staring at the ground, lost in thought. "What's eating you?" Duma asked, concern etched across his brow. "It's all spiraling out of control. Zuri thinks I'm the father of her child, and now everything feels so heavy. It was all just fun," Kimo lamented, frustration and regret spilling from his lips. "You can't treat this like a game anymore. These women aren't just admiring you, they're falling for you. You've got to get your act together and face the reality of your charm," Duma admonished, leaning in closer. Kimo nodded absently, the weight of Duma's words settling in. He realized he had spent so much energy running from commitment that he hadn't considered the depth of emotion he evoked. Each flirtation, each laugh, had repercussions he had been blissfully overlooking. As the festival day loomed closer, tensions ran high throughout the village. Kimo found himself caught in the crossfire of emotions, unaware of the division his charm had wrought among the women of Enkari. While he continued to bask in the affection of multiple admirers, the air was thick with jealousy and suspicion. Fatima, always radiant, expressed her frustrations over a gathering of women. "Kimo doesn't even realize what he's doing. I thought I was special to him, but here we are." Amina chimed in, her voice steady. "It's not about him realizing it. His flippant nature makes it clear he doesn't take any of this seriously. We can't keep waiting for him to choose." It was during a playful dance practice that the situation escalated. Kimo was leading a lively group, twirling and spinning with Fatima, her laughter echoing like bells. Amina watched, arms crossed, resentment bubbling to the surface. "Another game, Kimo. Is this truly how you repay us? Doing the same moves with different women?" Amina's voice rang out, commanding attention. "It's just dancing. No need to get serious," Kimo replied, his laughter fading as he watched Amina's face transform with disappointment. "You see, that's the problem. Nothing is ever serious to you," she shouted back, anger flaring. The words stung Kimo, and the festival's joyous spirit collapsed around them. The tension that hung in the air became palpable, and he felt the weight of it pressing down, stifling the light-hearted atmosphere that had previously surrounded him. "Maybe we need to redefine what this friendship means if we're going to continue like this, Kimo," Zuri piped up, keeping her gaze on Amina, the rivalry igniting once again. Near the edge of the crowd, Duma shook his head, concerned for his friend. "You think this is a game. What if this girl is serious about you? You tear their hearts apart with your charm every day without noticing how your actions affect them." Kimo felt caught in a storm of emotions. What had once been thrilling now left him vulnerable and exposed. Their deepening frustrations began to blur the lines of friendship and affection, chasing him into a state of confusion. As the festival finally began, the village of Enkari transformed into a magical tapestry of sound and light. The air was alive with joyous music, and tables overflowed with colourful dishes that tantalised the senses. But Kimo felt the dissonance of the emotions brewing among the women. Underneath the brilliant stars, he was swept back to the gathering point, surrounded by villagers celebrating their harvest, with colours exploding in a stunning array of rhythmic dance. But while laughter surrounded him, the whirlwind of emotions culminated in a palpable tension that weighed heavily on Kimo's heart. "Kimo, come dance with me," cried Fatima, extending her hand. Yet he could see Amina and Zuri lingering nearby, arms crossed, wearing shadows of anger and hurt. "Over here, I'll show you the cool moves I've been practicing," Amina shouted, trying desperately to reclaim his attention. With the weight of their expectations pressing down, Kimo felt torn. "Can't we all just relax and enjoy the night?" he said, attempting to diffuse the tension. But the air grew colder, and the dark clouds of discomfort began to close in around him. Suddenly, Amina exploded, her frustration erupting. "You think this is all just some game? You've led us all on with your charm and left us to pick up the pieces." Kimo flinched at her words. "I never meant to hurt anyone. I thought this was all in good fun." "Good fun? You've got so many of us tangled in your web of flirtation that hearts are breaking, and you don't even see it." Amina's emotions poured out, resonating with the other women who stood behind her, echoing their agreement. Caught in the storm, Kimo felt the first pangs of regret. He had revelled in the attention without understanding the consequences that came with his charm. Now, as he stood among the swirling chaos, the laughter faded, revealing a reality he had been too proud to acknowledge. Days passed, and the aftermath of the confrontation weighed heavily on Kimo. The festival ended, but the unspoken rift among the women continued to echo endlessly in Kimo's mind. He wandered through the village, his heart heavy with both regret and confusion, unsure of how to approach the emotional wreckage he had caused. Duma watched from the sidelines, the concern palpable on his face. "You needed to face them, Kimo. Regrets won't mend what you've broken. This isn't just a game." Kimo sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "But it was all supposed to be fun, Duma. I was just flirting." "Flirting isn't just a light-hearted pastime when it leads to those unspoken feelings among the women you've charmed. It's not a trivial matter anymore. You may have put their hearts at risk." With each passing moment, Kimo felt the weight of realization settling into his bones. The laughter that once surrounded him felt like a hollow memory. He had played with hearts without realizing the impact of his actions. Determined, he decided to confront Amina and Zuri and seek a way to mend the bonds he had unintentionally fractured. Gathering his courage, Kimo sought out Amina first. He found her drawing water at the well, her expression serious and distant. "Amina, can we talk?" he called gently, nerves roiling in his stomach. She turned slowly, her expression guarded. "Why should I waste my time talking to you, Kimo?" "You've turned my emotions upside down." "Because I don't want it to end this way," he replied earnestly, stepping closer. "I'm sorry. I took things too lightly, and I didn't realize the weight of my words and actions until now. I respected our friendship, yet I see how I've damaged it." Amina's gaze softened faintly, though lingering hurt still shadowed her features. "Words aren't enough, Kimo. You'll have to prove you can change. It's not just about saying the right things. We need to rebuild trust." Kimo nodded, determination filling him. "Then I will show you that I can be more than just a pretty face. I want to honor what we have, rather than trivialize it." He turned to find Zuri, who had been watching from a distance, debating whether to step forward. When their eyes met, longing and uncertainty swirled within her gaze. "Can we talk too?" Kimo asked, his voice steady. What could you possibly say that would change anything? Zuri responded, her heart still heavy from the echoes of their earlier confrontation. I understand if you're upset. I've been foolish, and I genuinely never intended to hurt you. I want to make things right, to be a better friend. You deserve that. Zuri's expression slowly shifted from skepticism to contemplation. It's hard to just forget, Kimo. I know. I need time to prove it to you, but I want to try. I can't lose you and Amina for a game, especially when this is very real. Taking a collective deep breath, Amina and Zuri shared a glance, as if both weighing Kimo's intentions together. I appreciate your honesty, Kimo, Zuri replied softly, her heart wavering. But it will take time to heal. Underneath the sprawling baobab tree where Kimo had spent countless nights contemplating his heart's desires, an electric breath of evening air swept through Enkare. The remnants of the harvest festival faded into memory. Celebration, laughter, and the bittersweet echo of promises unfulfilled swirled in the atmosphere. Having made his choice, Kimo's heart raced as he approached Zuri, who sat cross-legged beneath the tree, diligently crafting a necklace from fresh flowers and beads. She looked up, her vibrant eyes meeting his, sparkling with anticipation. Kimo, you're here! I thought you might be off chasing more laughter, she exclaimed, her voice a melodic tune that ignited warmth in his heart. I'm done running in circles, Zuri, Kimo said confidently, kneeling beside her. I've made my choice. It's you. I want to build a life with you. Zuri's expression transformed from surprise to delight, her laughter ringing like music, enchanting and pure. Really? You mean it? After everything with Amina? Yes, really, he assured her, taking her hands in his. For Kimo, the confusion that once plagued his heart faded away, replaced with clarity and purpose. Zuri felt right. Her laughter, her spirit, her warmth. I'll make us happy, I promise. Will you accept my heart? With a deep breath and an open heart, Zuri nodded, tears of joy spilling from her eyes as she hugged him tightly. I promise. Together we'll create something beautiful. As they embraced, the undercurrents of dormant desires began to blossom, weaving the beginnings of their shared journey together. Unbeknownst to Kimo, however, the heart is a tumultuous entity, as complicated as it is beautiful. As the months passed, Kimo and Zuri built a life filled with laughter, love, and the glow of burgeoning dreams. Their days were spent exploring the savannah, creating vivid memories together that blossomed like wildflowers beneath the sun. In time, the couple welcomed the news of Zuri's pregnancy. Kimo took great joy in preparing their home and embracing the journey into fatherhood, celebrating every moment with Zuri as she glowed with maternal warmth. Every day brought them closer, forging a stronger bond that felt as vibrant as the colours of the landscape around them. Do you think our child will inherit your charm? Zuri teased one evening, her hand resting on her round belly as they cooked together at the hearth. If they do, maybe we should name them Casanova. Kimo laughed, mixing ingredients in the pot, delighting in her playful banter and the easy rhythm of their life. Laughter filled their home, echoing through the quiet nights as they shared secrets and dreams. Kimo felt the weight of joy growing heavier in his heart, believing he had finally found what he had been searching for, a true connection. However, as their lives blossomed, the shadows of doubt began to creep in. Though Kimo was smitten with Zuri, the whispers of old flames lingered faintly in the corners of his mind, especially concerning Amina. After rejecting her, Kimo wondered how she was faring now that his affections had shifted. One sunny afternoon, Kimo visited Amina to check on her, hoping to ease any lingering tension. He found her sitting under the same baobab tree, lost in thought. Kimo, what a surprise! Amina greeted him, though her expression held a bittersweet air. I didn't expect to see you here. I came to check on you. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well, Kimo replied, remorse filling his voice. Oh, I'm managing, she said, curtly, fiddling with the shuka draped around her. "You've been busy with Zuri, I see." Kimo sighed, feeling the weight of regret settle as if he were bearing the burden of his decisions too closely. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Amina. You are remarkable, but I found a different path." "You have what you want, Kimo, but I wouldn't have expected you to stay with just one woman. You're a wandering heart, after all." Her words struck deeply, yet he felt defensive. "Zuri means something to me. I want to make things work." "Do you really think it will last? The thrill of the chase can quickly dissolve, my friend, when faced with the realities of love and commitment," Amina warned, her voice softening a little. Kimo felt that twinge of unease clawing at him again. Did his past choices linger like shadows? Or would he prove Amina wrong? Despite the lingering doubts, Kimo poured his heart into building a future with Zuri. Days turned into weeks, and soon they celebrated the arrival of their infant son. Kimo marveled at the miracle of life, overjoyed to hold his newborn, feeling a surge of paternal pride like never before. "We need to name him Kimo," Zuri suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement as they cradled their baby. "I think he should carry a strong name, something that represents resilience and adventure," Kimo pondered. Zuri smiled brightly. "How about Kian? It means grace of God, the perfect name for our little miracle." "Kian it is," Kimo agreed, embracing Zuri and their son tightly, feeling an overwhelming sense of happiness swell within him. Yet, as the weeks passed, something began to change in Zuri's demeanor. The lively laughter that once filled their home started to fade, replaced by moments of silence and distant gazes. Kimo found himself increasingly worried, attempting to bridge the gap that seemed to grow between them. "Zuri, is everything all right? You seem lost in thought lately," he asked one evening, as they sat by the warm glow of the hearth. "I'm just tired, Kimo. Caring for Kian is more demanding than I expected," she replied, her voice quietly lacking the energy he cherished. Kimo wanted to reach out, but he brushed off the concern, convincing himself that every new parent faced difficulties. Yet within the silent nights, doubts whispered at the edges of his mind, casting shadows over the joy they had cultivated together. As Kimo worked in the fields, he couldn't shake the feeling that Zuri was hiding something. And while she dutifully cared for Kian, she sometimes went missing late in the evenings under the guise of gathering food or visiting friends. One afternoon, while taking Kian on a stroll through the village, Kimo bumped into Fatima, a friend who radiated warmth and lived nearby. Her long hair flowed beautifully, and her graceful demeanor sparked a friendly connection. "Kimo, you're looking well. How's Zuri doing?" she asked, and her genuine curiosity turned his attention toward the shadows of doubt creeping in. "She's, busy," Kimo replied, trying to mask his frustration. "You know how new motherhood can be." Fatima's eyes sparkled with insight, and she placed a delicate hand on his shoulder. "If you ever need to talk, or if anything feels off, don't hesitate to call on me." Kimo nodded, appreciative yet uncomfortable. While he cherished the bond he had with Zuri, the ongoing distance between them hung like a fog over his heart. He found himself keeping busy, burying himself in community work while logging more whispers about Zuri's odd behavior. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting deep shadows around Kimo's home, the uneasy tension stretched into something heavier. One evening, filled with a dread he couldn't ignore, Kimo had returned home later than usual, exhausted yet alert. Zuri had let Kian drift off to sleep, and the house was quiet, but something felt out of place. "Zuri, are you here?" he called softly, moving into their shared space. The silence felt suffocating, and Kimo glanced around, noticing that Zuri's shuka was draped hastily over a chair, and there was a strange scent that lingered in the air, a mix of unfamiliar perfume that made his heart race with unease. He turned suddenly as he heard laughter from outside, a woman's laugh, light and melodic, mingling with another distinct voice. As he stepped closer to the door, dread filled him. Peering out, Kimo saw Zuri, her laughter echoing with another man, a trader from the neighbouring village. The sight of them together, the way their bodies leaned toward one another, sent a spear of sadness through his heart. He watched as Zuri whispered something to him, her beautiful smile brightening the dusk. "Kimo!" Duma's voice suddenly broke through his thoughts, startling him from his focus. "What's going on?" Kimo looked at Duma, his face pale. "I think Zuri is cheating on me." Duma's brows knitted together in concern. "Are you sure? You might be misunderstanding the situation." "No. I saw her. She was laughing with him as if they shared a secret." Kimo's voice trembled, the pain of betrayal thrumming deep within him. "Let's confront them together. You need to know the truth, Kimo, whatever it may be," Duma suggested, his tone steady but empathetic. Together they approached the scene, Kimo's heart pounding in his chest. He felt the pull between insecurity and the determination to uncover the truth. As they neared Zuri and the trader, her laughter rang out again, sweet yet haunting, leaving Kimo trembling. "Hey, Zuri!" he called, the uncertainty in his voice cutting through the evening air. Zuri turned, her smile faltering at the sight of Kimo. The laughter died, replaced by tension, and the air became thick with unspoken words. "Kimo, I didn't expect you home so soon," she stammered, a hint of panic flashing in her eyes. "I saw you out here. What is going on?" Kimo's voice was steady, but the hurt seeped through the cracks. "We were just talking," Zuri began, but Kimo could feel the distance growing as the truth weighed heavily on his heart. The trader smiled awkwardly, sensing the growing tension. "I should, get going," he muttered, hastily exiting the scene, leaving Kimo face to face with Zuri. "What's happening here, Zuri? What were you laughing about?" Kimo pressed, taking a step closer, his heartbeat echoing in his ears. "It was nothing. Just friendly conversation," Zuri insisted, though her eyes darted away, betraying her unease. "Friendly? With that man? Don't lie to me. I deserve to know if there's something happening behind my back." Kimo's voice rose, raw and pointed. "Kimo, please. It's not what you think. I love you." Zuri finally snapped, desperation creeping into her tone. "You've been so consumed with the festival and everything else. How could you think?" But he cut her off. "Because I feel you slipping away, Zuri. I've sensed it for weeks. The laughter we once shared is fading." Zuri faltered, the weight of Kimo's words pressing down as the truth teetered on the edge. In that moment, Kimo realized that their love, once so vibrant, now felt as fragile as the blooms wilting in the evening wind. The passion he had chased was threatened by the possibility of betrayal. The next morning unfolded with an air of disquiet, as Kimo's heart was a tangled mess of confusion and anguish. Nightmares filled his sleep, echoing with Zuri's laughter that had now turned hollow. He jogged early to the village square, hoping to clear his mind, but ended up stewing in impatience while his doubts festered. Duma spotted him pacing. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." Kimo paused, his jaw clenched. "I just don't know what to believe anymore. I thought I had built something with Zuri, and now I feel like I don't really know her at all." "You need to confront her again, Kimo. The truth will come out. Ignoring it won't help you." Duma began, but was interrupted by the sound of footsteps and laughter. Looking up, Kimo's heart sank as he saw Zuri approaching, her demeanor light with the echo of joy hanging in the air. But as she drew closer, he saw the familiar figure of the trader again. Anger rose within him like a consuming flame. "Zuri, what's he doing here?" Kimo demanded, his frustration boiling over. "Kimo, please, just hear me out," Zuri pleaded, caught between the man she cherished and the life she tried to uphold. You don't need to explain anything to me if you're still pursuing him. Kimo turned sharply, heart racing and fists clenched. This isn't what it looks like, Zuri cried, desperation crackling in her voice as she sought to juggle her emotions, torn between the love she felt for Kimo and the truth she could not admit. Then what is it, Zuri? Make it clear before I walk away. With the words hanging in the air, Kimo felt the distance between them stretch longer. It was in the moment of turmoil that a beam of realization struck him. Trust and love were fragile, easily torn by the winds of infidelity. The pain coursing through him felt unbearable, and guilt twisted in his gut, battling against the love he once felt so strongly. Zuri's face fell as she saw anger and heartbreak mingle in Kimo's eyes. "Kimo, please," she whispered, tears brimming, but he felt powerless to comfort her. As the trader looked on, uncertain, Kimo's heart pounded with a mix of rage and sorrow as he turned, storming away before he said something he'd regret. Each step he took echoed the verdict he had come to wield. He could no longer trust the woman who had once lit up his days.